Well, we took Honey to the vet. Yeah, that was super. Well, hello Glue Troopers, and welcome back to the TARDIS. And I actually made a list of things to talk about today so that I would not just end up rambling. Not that rambling isn't fun. We got the cat to the vet, everything went okay, she's back okay. She didn't claw me, just a little joke, a little humor. So when we got back from taking her to the vet, I was getting the mail, and it was just junk mail flyers, and one of them fell out of my hand, and sure enough, and I kid you not, this is a photograph of how it landed right in front of me. It was an ad for Ollie's. So sometime in the set of days off, I want to get out there and check this place out. I know a lot of you guys have talked about it. They may or may not have any models of the one I go to, but you know, I don't know if I'll get around that tomorrow, but that's on my to-do list. And let's see. I went to Hurricane Hobbies today to grab some paints for the Stenson. Now, I got the blue, the red, and the semi-gloss black that I'm going to use. I already talked about how I was going to paint it. And when I'm not going to paint it today, but when I picked the Stenson up, I had given like 24 hours of the gear to harden, and I'd set it back up on its gear. The wheels aren't on it yet, obviously, and I was shocked that one of the gears had bowed out pretty substantially. I'm thinking, man, I gave it overnight to harden. Did I set something on this and not realize it, or did something bump on it, or did I use so much glue that it softened the plastic and it hasn't re-hardened? So I filled in the area, the gaps, put it back in the right place, and where there were gaps, I filled it in with putty. And I'm letting that harden overnight. I sand it down tomorrow and see how it does. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, maybe I have to give it a couple of days for that gear to re-harden. Perhaps I used too much glue on it and it rubberized it. We all know that can happen. I'm sure we've all done it. So minor setback there. I did make a little bit of progress on the Gundam after I was done today. That was sort of the last thing I went to, and put the feet together and finished off the arms. I actually finished the hands and arms this morning and got working on the feet this evening. So again, breaking that down into sections. Did get the APCs more or less finished. I mean, I still have to touch them up with some paint and then dull coat them. And then I'm going to put them a little diorama, and I'll show you that when I'm done with it. But the decals came out of my stash. The American decals are almost the right size for a mid 1960s build, like in Germany or somewhere, before they went back to all camouflage with a little dinky black star back when they used to put the big white star on them. I know the red star on the Russian vehicle is a little too big, but it was out of my stash. It was the smallest one I had. And to be honest with you, I've actually seen pictures of Russian vehicles that did have oversized stars put on them like that. It's just, I guess, what the local unit commander wanted. Anyway, they'll look good they'll look kind of cool when they're done. I'll show you the diorama when I get finished. Now, I told you I pulled out these kits to do for the watercraft build. I'd like to get them done for the end of the month. Not sure that's going to happen, because once the set of days off is over and I go back to work, I'm going to be at work a lot. But I was looking at them, and the PT-109, a lot of you guys have built it and even said that it's a pretty straightforward kit. That's a pretty easy build, not too many parts. The little cartoon Lexington actually has more parts than you might think, but that's should be a quick fun build. The PBR, the Piver, the Patrol Boat River, that is going to be a little more detailed. It's got it's got more smaller parts on it and everything. So none of them should be too difficult to paint, because they're primarily olive drab with some highlights and white or red bottoms, but that's pretty much it. I noticed the box art of the PT-109 has it with a white underside, but I thought the underside on PT-109 was red. So anybody knows about that, let me know in the comments section. And the last one is this Fujimi Hosho, and this is actually going to be probably the trickiest of the lot, not only because of the small scale, but it's got a lot of photo etch metal and stuff. It's actually a fairly detailed kit, and Fujimi is famous for its, like people say, fiddly little parts, but the detail on it looks really good. So that's probably going to be the last of the builds I'll get to. We'll see how it pans out. Hopefully I'll get it done in time, and if I don't, I'll just show it at another viewer's build when I do get it done. I've got them all opened up here, the boxes lined up. Since I'm working on the Gundam over here, I'll be working on the boats, the watercraft over there. And I still have the Dodge semi-trailer and the van that I want to get done for the Canadian build. And I made some progress on the Faller helicopter a little bit. That's more of a side build. And speaking of that, that's a great segue into the Canadian build, because I had not noticed that the book that was sent to me with this 2 CDs yesterday were the extra set of decals for the Canadian Arrow were in there. I didn't catch that when I read it. So, and this has the cockpit window decals. I'll probably wind up using those. That way it'll make it, I think it'll just key better with the general motif. And of course I got plenty of time to do that, because the Canadian build along with the airliner build isn't due until the end of May. Right now I'm focusing on watercraft, which are due at the end of March. And you know what, if I don't get one of them done in time, then I'll just put it on a regular viewer's build. I mean, we're building models, not doing homework assignments. And guys, if you don't get it done in time, don't worry, we'll just show it in a viewer's build. You know, the world will see your magnificent work. And that kind of brings me back to another thing. All of these are short stack or in progress because they're in line to be built by a certain date. And I still have the P-51 comparison I want to do, so I have the Mustang stacked up here. I've got all these kits on the short stack. And today I was out in Tarbis 2 Lima site, the garage, rearranging some of the kits, trying to tidy up the shelf. And I couldn't find any room for this Kafir because I don't have any actual single-engine modern fighter jets out there. They're all in here. And I was like, you know, and this is the Minicraft Hasegawa kit. So I looked at it and said, you know, this is actually a pretty simple build. And it made me wonder, here's your question of the day. Have you ever built a kit just because you had no place to put the box? I mean, you're like, there's no room in the stash. Oh, I'll just build it now. So what I'm going to do is I think that Kafir will make a nice road build. So I got it in here so I can pre-paint a few parts in the interior. But when I go out next time, I plan to take the Kafir with me and build that as a road build. And of course, paint it when I get back. And it kind of moved up to be a road build. I didn't even think about it at the time. It's a good product because I'm going to make it wheels up like I do the jets, and I built jets on the road, and they tend to transport a little more easily because generally speaking they don't have a lot of little appendages. The tricky stuff to move are planes with like fixed landing gears like the World War I aircraft or the Stenson, and I think the Kafir will make a good little road build. And I was like, okay, that's how it moved itself to the head of the line there. And plus I have the one Israeli model jet here, and I think the Kafir will go good next to it, although they're different scales. But anywho, so that's the short stack there, the road build, and what I have in progress. Also, the shop owner, when I was at Hurricane Hobbies, asked me a question. He asked me if I would just ask you guys while, you know, out online. I'm like, okay, what is the proper way to say Tamiya? Is it Tamiya? 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 He thinks it's Tamiya. I've always said Tamiya, but I think it's I think it's Tamiya. But I really don't know, and I've even asked a couple of ethnic Japanese and got different opinions, because just like you ask somebody here, tomato, tomato. So what do you think? There's two questions of the day. You know, did you ever build a kit just because it was in the way? And what's the proper way to say Tamiya, Tamiya, Tamiya? So anyway, guys, that's what I have for tonight. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourselves. As always, model on. That's too far. Let's go to Gundam. Model on, Pilgrim. Model on. Yeah, if you could model on, that'd be swell. That'd be super. Yeah, if you could have those models done with those TPS reports, that'd be super. Yeah. Did I forget anything?